So Chris, I'm going to ask you anything. I'm going to start with this
Sure.
question. How
Let's
do
do it.
you inspire yourself? How do you get yourself in a good frame of mind to create?
Sure. So there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, I like to see what my players in my game world are working on, because then it inspires me to do something that's kind of adjacent to that. So like, I have a player right now who really wants to write up a backstory about kind of the small town that his character is from, and so I'm developing things adjacent to that town, so it kind of helps him flesh out his own character and feel like it's more real than just fill in the line where you're from and that's it, you know. So that helps a lot. I think that's a great way to get inspired. And then just in general, the media that I consume, a lot of really schlocky sci-fi fantasy shows, stuff like that, definitely gets the wheels going. And then just jumping into the Discord and chatting with people and looking at other people's worlds definitely inspires me to, say, hey, they're working on this very cool thing. Do I have anything that's similar that maybe needs some extra love, or is there something there that's inspiring me to kind of do my own thing that doesn't exist yet? So those are my three main areas of inspiration.
Very cool. So for you, the sort of the inspiration stage is actually a very social thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is, for sure. Because otherwise I'll end up sitting around just kind of going down a wormhole that isn't, or rabbit hole that isn't necessarily something that people would ever interact with in the game, or is just too far away from what is front and center, that, it's good information, but was it necessary?
Sure. So it tends to build a border then on world builder's disease almost.
Yes, yeah, that's something that I talk about with people all the time, is world builder disease, and sometimes I have unpopular opinions on it, but yeah, I think that is so core to what we do, and you have to be aware of it at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for those of you in the chat who are not aware, world builder's disease is the phenomenon where you compulsively continue to build detail in your world that is not relevant to any of the projects you're on, has no relevancy to any of the projects you foresee, and although it's not useless, because no world building is ever useless, it is building depth to your setting, it's stuff that takes you away from the core focus of where your project is going, essentially.
Yeah.
You could say, in fact, I like to say that Tolkien was patient zero of world builder's disease. And I think for a lot of us that have read Tolkien's books, that's where this sort of world builder's disease impetus comes from. This sort of desire to rapidly create 15 different conlangs and the elven underpants and 18 mythologies and everything else.
Yep. Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that Tolkien is like a good example of what it looks like. I guess in a way he ended up using it, which is good, but I find that it's the kind of thing that people will fall back on to sort of create an excuse for not doing the thing that is the goal, if that makes sense. Like if you're looking to put out a book or launch a game, or whatever it is, you may feel more comfortable developing that like 15th or 20th con lag, or going into what's happening on this tiny little island that nobody's going to be concerned about, and saying, well, when I'm done with that thing, then I'll do the main thing.
Then I'll write the book.
Right. And it just helps, at least for me, to be hyper focused on what is the goal and what is adjacent to it, and making sure those pieces are there. That being said, like if the goal is just free form world building, do your thing. I'm not like dumping on that at all. That's great. That's an awesome mental exercise. But if it's anything else than that, you just have to be super careful that you're not spending weeks and months on stuff that is not pushing the goal forward.